What if from today, nobody and nothing could ever rule your mind again? Imagine living a life where no opinion sways your direction, no pressure bends your will, and no influence, subtle or loud, can hijack your thoughts. Think about it. How many times have you let someone's expectations shape your decisions? How often have you felt pulled, pushed, or mentally cornered by what others want from you? We've all been there. We've all felt our inner world invaded by noise that never belonged to us. But here's the truth. That mental captivity ends the moment you decide it does. This isn't about becoming stubborn or shutting the world out. It's about becoming sovereign, fully in command of your own mind. Machiavelli taught that the greatest form of power is the strength to govern yourself before trying to govern anything else. When you control your thoughts, no one can plant doubt in you, steer your choices, or claim authority over your direction. In the next few minutes, I'll show you 8 powerful lessons that will help you build an unbreakable mental fortress from the inside out. You'll learn how to think independently, how to resist manipulation, and how to become a person whose mind cannot be conquered. But first, I want you to commit right now. Drop this in the comments to claim your inner throne. My mind belongs to me alone. Say it, own it, because the moment you do, you've already taken your first step toward becoming mentally untouchable. Number 1. Most people don't lose control of their minds because of some massive crisis. They lose it through 1,000 small moments where they let outside forces slip inside their head, shape their thoughts, and rewrite their decisions without even realizing it. Every time someone's opinion makes you doubt yourself, every time a trend pulls your attention away from your goals, every time you feel pressured to think the way others think, you hand over a piece of your mental sovereignty. And the question is, who's really in control then? Not you. It's whoever influenced you. This is what I call mental vulnerability, the silent weakness of letting your mind be ruled by anything outside of yourself. And here's the harsh truth. People will use it. Society will use it. Systems will use it. The world constantly tries to tell you what to think, who to be, what to fear, and what to chase. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago when he said that the man who cannot command himself will always be commanded by others. If you want a mind no one can rule, you must train yourself to pause before accepting anything as truth, question every influence, and filter thoughts through your own judgment instead of letting them slip in unchallenged. Think of your mind like a kingdom. Unguarded gates invite invasion. But when you strengthen the walls, choose what enters, and refuse to let noise rewrite your direction, you become mentally untouchable. Today, make this your first law of inner rule. Never hand authority over your mind to anyone or anything. Number 2. Most people don't realize this, but their minds aren't ruled by force, they're ruled by reaction. Someone disapproves of them, and they shrink. Someone praises them, and they glow. Someone challenges them, and they panic. Their entire mental world rises and falls based on whatever stimulus hits them next, and that's exactly why they remain easy to sway, easy to predict, and easy to control. But Machiavelli never thought like this. He believed the wise man acts from calculation, not impulse, from strategy, not emotion. He famously said, "The wise man does at once what the fool does finally," meaning the strategist sees the whole board while everyone else is busy reacting to the last move. Ask yourself, how many decisions have you made because you were pressured in the moment? How many paths have you abandoned because someone else didn't approve? How many times have you let temporary feelings sabotage long-term direction? That's what happens when you think in reactions instead of strategy. The moment you stop letting emotions, opinions, or social trends dictate your next move, and start asking, what strengthens my position? What weakens it? You take back control. Imagine someone questions your ideas publicly. If you respond with panic, you reinforce their power. If you stay composed, speak with clarity, and choose your words with intention, you dictate the tone they don't. Strategy means stepping back mentally before you step forward physically. It means weighing consequences instead of chasing comfort. And it means thinking 3 steps ahead instead of responding to what's right in front of you. When you adopt strategic thinking, you become someone whose mind can't be swayed by moods, crowds, or manipulation. Number 3. One of the greatest traps of the human mind is the need for external validation, because the moment your thoughts depend on someone else's approval, you're no longer thinking for yourself, you're thinking for them. Most people don't notice how deeply this dependency runs. They shape their opinions around what's popular, adjust their personality to fit expectations, and silence their true beliefs because they fear judgment. But here's the truth. If your identity shifts every time someone reacts to you, then you're not living, you're performing. Machiavelli understood this when he wrote that men judge more by appearances than by substance, meaning people rarely see the real you. They only see the version you present to gain their acceptance. And if you're constantly trying to please the audience, you'll never build your own mental foundation. The world's opinions are unstable. Today you're praised, tomorrow you're dismissed. Today you're admired, tomorrow you're criticized. If your sense of self rises and falls with that wave, your mind will always be at the mercy of others. That's why you must build mental autonomy, the power to think for yourself, even when no one agrees, no one claps, and no one validates you. Start by noticing where you seek approval. Do you hold back ideas because others might disagree? Do you adjust your beliefs depending on who's in the room? Do you feel uncomfortable standing alone mentally? Then, begin validating yourself internally. Recognize your own growth, acknowledge your own wins, and trust your own judgment before anyone else's opinion enters the room. Finally, remember this truth. People think about you far less than you imagine. They're too busy worrying about themselves. So why give them the authority to shape your mind? When you cut the cord of external validation, you become unshakable, independent, and mentally sovereign. Number 4. It's not always the big pressures that allow others to rule your mind most of the time. It's the small habits you barely notice. The way you over-explain your decisions, the way you overshare your thoughts, the way you reveal your doubts too quickly. Each of these gives people tiny openings to influence, redirect, or even hijack your thinking. When you over-explain, you send the message that you need permission to think the way you do. When you overshare your worries, you hand people the exact levers they can pull to shape your choices. And when you constantly justify yourself, you quietly admit your mind is negotiable. Machiavelli understood how dangerous this is when he said, "It is double pleasure to deceive the deceiver," meaning the moment you expose your mental weaknesses, someone will exploit them, not necessarily out of malice, but because human nature gravitates toward advantage. That's why true mental sovereignty requires discretion. Not everyone deserves a front row seat to your thoughts. Not everyone should know your fears, motives, or plans. The strongest minds are not the loudest, they're the most selective. So begin with 3 simple rules. First, speak less. Let your thoughts carry weight by not scattering them everywhere. Second, hold your inner doubts privately. Don't hand people the blueprint to influence you. Third, before revealing anything, ask yourself, does this strengthen me or does it expose me? If it exposes you, keep it inside. When your mind becomes a well-guarded space when others can't easily read you, predict you, or push your buttons, you become someone they can't manipulate or sway. You become mentally opaque, unpredictable, and powerful. Number 5. People think silence is passive, but in reality, silence is one of the strongest forms of mental dominance you can wield. Most minds are noisy, reactive, and easily provoked. When someone criticizes them, they rush to defend. When someone challenges them, they scramble to respond. When a moment gets tense, they fill it with words just to escape the discomfort. But the mind that can remain quiet, truly quiet, instantly rises above the cape rest. When someone tries to provoke you and you respond with silence, they lose the ability to steer your thoughts. When someone pushes for an emotional reaction and you stay calm, their influence collapses. People expect you to respond, explain, react, and reveal. When you don't, the power flips. Machiavelli understood this dynamic well. He wrote that the fox survives by watching, waiting, and choosing the perfect moment to strike. Silence gives you that advantage. It protects your intentions, it confuses those trying to manipulate you, and it forces others to reveal more than you do. Stillness, mental stillness, does the same. When your mind doesn't rush, panic, or obsess, you make decisions from clarity, not pressure. You observe instead of absorbing, you choose instead of react. And you cannot be manipulated by someone you're simply watching. In a world addicted to noise, the person who can stay silent becomes the person who cannot be controlled. The next time someone tries to pull you into drama or influence your thoughts, remember that your silence is not surrender, it is strategy. Your calm is not emptiness, it is mastery. Number 6. Most people don't think for themselves because they take others at face value. They assume what someone says is what someone means. But the truth is, most people speak with masks on. They compliment you when they need something, they act supportive when it benefits them, and they present a polished version of themselves to shape how you think and how you respond. Words are easy. Intentions are harder to see. And if you judge people by their words alone, your mind becomes vulnerable to flattery, manipulation, and illusion. Machiavelli warned about this when he said, "Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few know what you really are." The same is true in reverse. Everyone presents what they want you to see, but very few show who they actually are. If you want to rule your mind, you must learn to read patterns, not promises. Look at how people behave when they gain nothing from you. Look at how they act under pressure, not when everything is going well. Look at what they consistently do, not what they occasionally say. A friend who disappears when you need help is telling you who they are. A colleague who praises you in public but competes in private is revealing their nature. A partner who apologizes but repeats the same behavior is showing you their priorities. When you train yourself to see the truth beneath the mask, you stop being confused, surprised, or thrown off mentally by people's actions. Instead, you become a quiet observer, calm, perceptive, and in control. This protects your mind from false loyalty, empty promises, and hidden agendas. And once you see the truth, no one can weaponize illusion against you again. Number 7. Trust is powerful, but in the wrong hands, it becomes the very thing that lets others rule your mind. Most people hand out trust like a gift, instead of treating it like a contract, and that's exactly why they end up controlled, disappointed, or mentally shaken. The moment you trust someone blindly, you give them access to your thoughts, your emotions, and your vulnerabilities. And once someone has that access, they can influence your decisions, shape your beliefs, and even steer your life without you noticing. Machiavelli understood this perfectly when he wrote, "The promise given was a necessity of the past. The promise broken is a necessity of the present." In other words, people change, interests shift, motives evolve, and loyalty often bends under pressure. If your inner world is tied to someone who can flip tomorrow, your mind is never truly your own. But the real danger isn't just trust, it's emotional dependency. When you depend on someone to feel confident, valued, or stable, you give them the power to lift you up or crush you with a single action. A delayed response can make you anxious. A harsh comment can break your confidence. Their mood becomes your mood. Their approval becomes your compass. And that is the surest path to mental enslavement. The key is balance. Care for people, but don't collapse into them. Connect deeply, but don't rely mentally. Keep a part of your inner world untouched, unshared, and ungoverned by anyone but you. Test trust in small things before giving it in big ones. Share selectively, and build an inner foundation strong enough that no one's presence or absence can destabilize you. When you do this, you become someone who can love without losing yourself, support others without sacrificing your clarity, and walk away from anyone without losing your center. Number 8. Every form of true power begins in one place, your own mind. If you cannot discipline your thoughts, control your emotions, and direct your focus, then the world will do it for you. You don't need chains to be ruled. All it takes is distraction, impulse, fear, or pressure, and your inner world becomes someone else's territory. Machiavelli understood this deeply when he wrote that the man who adapts with intention prospers, meaning the strongest person is not the loudest or the most forceful, but the one who can command himself no matter what storm rises around him. Think of it like this. Life will always throw challenges at you. People will always test you. Situations will attempt to shake you. But if your mind is centered, if your reactions are deliberate, if your choices come from clarity instead of chaos, then nothing outside of you can ever dominate you. Mastering your mind comes down to 3 pillars. First, control your emotional impulses. Don't let anger, fear, envy, or insecurity decide what you do next. When someone tries to provoke you or sway you, your stillness becomes your shield. Second, discipline your habits. A strong mind is built from repeated actions, consistent effort, self-respect, and the refusal to be ruled by laziness or temptation. Every small discipline strengthens your sovereignty. Third, build internal independence. Do not let your peace depend on chance, people, praise, or outcomes. The moment your stability is rooted inside yourself, nothing external can shake it. Picture your mind as a kingdom. Your thoughts are the citizens, your emotions are the soldiers, and your habits are the laws. If the kingdom is chaotic, anyone can invade. But if it is ordered, steady, and fortified, no force on earth can overthrow it. Master yourself, and you master your circumstances. Control your inner world, and the outer world can no longer control you. You've now seen the truth laid out clearly. No one can rule your mind unless you hand them the crown. Power doesn't come from reacting, pleasing, or proving. It comes from clarity, control, and the refusal to let anything outside of you decide what happens inside of you. You learned how mental vulnerability opens the door for others to influence your thoughts, and how strategic thinking frees you from reacting to the noise around you. You learned how external validation becomes a cage, how oversharing exposes your weak points, and how silence turns into a weapon of mental dominance. You learned to see people's real intentions beneath their polished words, and to guard your trust so carefully that no one can ever shake your stability again. And finally, you learned the core truth. Mastering your mind is the foundation of mastering your entire life. Challenges will come, people will test you, pressure will rise, but the person who governs themselves never loses their footing. Machiavelli said, "People respect strength far more than hope, and the strongest form of strength is the individual who cannot be manipulated, swayed, or mentally invaded." So starting today, stay loyal to your inner world. Protect your emotions, filter your thoughts, discipline your habits, and make decisions with intention, not impulse. Build your mental fortress like Cater. Your future depends on it because it does. Now drop your personal affirmation in the comments to seal your commitment. Say it out loud. Let it echo in your mind until it becomes part of your identity. My mind is sovereign. My thoughts are mine. My inner world is untouchable. Like, share, and subscribe if this gave you clarity or strength. Walk forward from this moment with a mind nobody can rule, and remember, a sovereign mind creates a sovereign life.